Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thanks so much for watching today. I'm just getting ready today. I thought we could do it together. It's so much later in the day than it should be, but I was like, I feel like playing in makeup. I'm having a day off from work and I'm just being like ultimately luxurious. I had coffee and bagel in bed this morning. I was listening to an audiobook and then I was like, what do I want to do? So I've really been overindulging today. It's been great. I happened to go to Sephora the other day. My local Sephora is a good 70 minutes away. It's like more than an hour. I don't go that often. I usually just order online because it's easier. But while I was there, they had samples of the new Makeup Forever. I've heard some people talking about this. So this is the new HD Skin Foundation. And the good thing was being in store, I was able to color match myself. It's not the best. It's not like the most perfect shade ever, but this is the lightest shade. Anything darker than this was way too dark. I even got help from one of the Sephora people and they're like, yeah, this is a little too light for you, but all the other ones are too dark. And I was like, how is that possible? I just have a little bit here on this palette. That's probably way more than I need. But my goal is to see what this looks like. Have you tried this new foundation? This was one that when I saw that it was launching, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And maybe it's because I've never been in love with the Makeup Forever foundations in the past. I've tried one of the other HD foundations, and although it was all right, it wasn't like my fave ever. I think I might need a hair clip. So I have it on this half of my face. This is the shade 1N00. The lightest shade they make in this foundation, and I feel like it's a pretty good match from here to here. I know that it's a hair lighter than this, but this is where I tell you that I have Supergoop's Glow Screen on, which is a tinted SPF. So this is not the color of my natural skin. I'm lighter than this. Every time I wash my face at the end of the day, I'm like, whoa, that makes a big difference. So this might look better when I'm using a non-tinted sunscreen, but I really like the glow that it gives. That's why I'm wearing it today. I went to go make a return at Sephora, which is why I was there in the first place. I had picked up this Dior Backstage concealer and I got the shade 1N thinking, you know what? The 0N will probably be too light. Let me go with the 1N. Guess what? It was too dark. It was too dark. And so I was like, well, and I picked it up during the sale. So I ordered 0N before the sale was over, but I knew that I was going to have to return one. So I returned the other one. And while I was in there, I picked up more stuff. I'm glad I didn't just buy this HD foundation. I'm glad that I was like, let me get a sample. That'll be helpful. This is so frustrating to me. So I work at a dental office and it was the little wire thing in my mask that caught me right here. And I was like, I know better. What happened? And so I've been dealing with this little guy here. And then of course, it's been a couple of months since I have been dealing with any sort of acne. And I happened to go like, wow, it's been so long. I'm so happy my skin is in such a good place. No, it's like, no. Don't delude yourself. I'm always curious to see how products like this end up dealing with my forehead. On my face, my largest expression lines are right here. And that's where even after freshly applying foundation or any sort of base product here, things generally sink right into those crevices. I'm not seeing it really obviously right now, but I'll be curious to see how it wears today. I didn't just drive an hour away to make the return at Sephora. That was just a coincidence. I really went for Costco. Like once a quarter, I'll make a Costco run. I wish we had one closer, but whatever. So I had to go pick up laundry detergent and other stuff. I'm like, well, while I'm there, let me just, you know what I forgot? I forgot my corrector. I'm gonna put on some of the Beauty Pie. This is my favorite. Anyway, so I'm out there, and while I was there at Costco, they had the volumizing hair dryer / styler from Revlon that I'd heard so many good things about. My two daughters are 12 and 14. They have been wanting to do more things with their hair, but something that's easy and won't take a lot of time, where they look a little bit more polished. And when I saw it and they had it on sale at Costco, I was like, great. So they were like, what do we do? How do we use it? So I picked it up for them a couple days ago and they still hadn't used it. So this morning I was showing them on my hair. I normally don't straighten my curly hair. In 2019, what is that, 3 years ago? Wow. I quit dyeing my hair and I quit straightening my naturally curly hair. And I realized that after so many years of dyeing and straightening my hair, it kind of damaged my curl pattern, and I kind of made a commitment to myself to not straighten my hair anymore. But then the kids didn't know what to do with the volumizing blow drying brush from Revlon, so I started showing them, and the next thing I knew, I straightened it. But my hair is so texturized that I always end up with like little frizzies everywhere. And I'm just gonna embrace it today and be fine with it. I'm still trying to decide whether I like this or not. I will tell you, I like that it has this little brush. It's not a doe foot, it's a little tiny brush. This is supposed to be crease proof. This is supposed to be waterproof. This is supposed to last all day. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad concealer, but I don't know that it's the concealer that I thought it was gonna be / hoped it would be. I'm so mad that I did this. I was in a rush, and it's not just the mask there, but I also have glasses that I wear for eye protection at the dentist office, and that sitting on top of that little metal band just took a little scoop out of my nose. I didn't realize it to the end of the day. I'm like, boy, this part was burning, and I just thought it was, you know, irritation. It turns out I had cut myself. I think I'm putting myself on a makeup buying freeze for a little bit, because I have spent too much in the last month and a half. And it's not that all of the money that I spend is income that comes in from the ads that you watch for my videos. Since my channel is monetized, anytime anybody watches an ad on my channel, I get a small percentage of that back. And that's the money that I use to, you know, I used it once to get a new camera. I've used it for lighting. I've used it for other things, but normally it's my beauty budget. It's the money that I use to, you know, buy new product, do reviews, things like that. But I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. And it's not so much the amount of money that I'm spending. There's just so much here that I don't really feel like I've had a chance to get to know. Maybe it's because I only got 2 things during the 21 days of Ulta, but I got an eyeshadow palette. And then I picked up a ton of stuff, 8 or 9 products during the Sephora sale, plus all the other things that I had been interested in and kind of looking at. And the next thing I know, I'm like, wait, there's so much new stuff here. I haven't really been able to try it all. The other thing that's been hard is, since the job that I have requires me to wear a mask, I need to wear powder products just to make sure. If I wear just cream products and I put a mask over it, it all wears off really quickly. So I have to set my whole face, which means I'm using different foundations and powders and blushes, and I've been loving really creamy dewy looks, and I haven't really been able to do that. So I have really been feeling like I have some products I haven't been able to get to know as well as I would like, because I have been so like limited in where I can wear certain makeup or when I can wear certain makeup, because not everything is work appropriate. And then on top of that, there's just been a lot. So I think I'm going to take a pause for a while, just so that I get to the point where I feel like I can get really well acquainted with the products that I have that are new. And I'm saying this after having picked up some stuff when I was making that return at Sephora. And I don't know who has the willpower to walk into a Sephora to make a return and not buy something else. I am not that person. I want to be that person. I would love to be that person. Not who I am. I walked in there and I'm like, oh, I was curious about these. I almost picked these up during the sale, but I didn't know what they would be like. And then I swatched them, like, these are for me. So I left with a new eyeshadow palette and a new lipstick. And I need eyeshadow and lipstick like I need another hole in my head. I feel like the lighter shade of the Dior concealer and this lightest shade of the foundation from Makeup Forever, actually, they work really well and they're very accurate to my own natural skin tone. So that's good to know. The nice thing is I got 2 samples of the HD skin, so the one that I cracked into, and then another one so that I can try it multiple days. I couldn't keep looking at myself with pale skin and no eyebrows, so I think I might have got a little eyebrow heavy today. Okay, I'm going to be using the Danessa Myricks Power Bronzer, and I have the lightest shade. You know what, I think I'm going to just use a brush like this and just kind of lightly tap into here, tap off any excess on the back of my hand, and then just give myself a little bit of sculpty bronzer, I guess. Not quite contour, but bronzer. We're getting over colds in this house. I thankfully have not gotten sick. I'm trying really hard to make sure that I don't, but both my kids are sick. My husband's starting to say, I might have a little scratchy throat going on. We've tested and we know it's not COVID, but all I can tell you is, man, we haven't been sick in 2 years, and all of a sudden, you know, we're getting sick again. That's okay. I think it's all the Easter candy. So when I'm recording this, it's like the week after Easter, and my kids, bless their hearts, this was the first year that we didn't do an actual Easter egg hunt. My 14-year-old's like, can you just buy the candy? And I was like, if you want the candy, you gotta, you know, hunt for it. My husband's like, just let them have the candy. Got into the Easter candy on Sunday morning, and I had like 2 pieces, and I was, you know, busy doing other stuff, and my kids just like sat down and went to town. And I think it was just, you know, lowering their immune system by adding more sugar than normal to their diet, and they caught whatever bug is going around at school. So thankfully, nobody's sick with the bad stuff. It's just the regular run-of-the-mill cold. But my kids are lamenting. They're like, oh, I hate having a stuffy nose. I hate having a runny nose. And I'm like, well, you haven't been sick in 2 years, so, which is great, but I forget sometimes how much I appreciate just the regular everyday health I have until it's gone. I picked this Danessa Myricks cream palette up during the sale, and this is just kind of like a blush duo, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I think I want to do a mixture of these 2 shades. I'm just kind of mixing these guys together on a palette here. I'm going to use just a little squirt of the Auric Glow Lust, and I'm just going to pick it up with the same brush here that I put everything else on with, and see if I can lightly highlight this and kind of tap it in. One of the things I picked up when I made that return, and I was like, ooh, was curious about you, was this. This is the Major Dimensions 2 palette from Perfector. So I was sure that this palette was going to be too bronzy, even though it's more rose toned, and that I wasn't really gonna love the textures. But of course, how do I know until I play them? And the minute I started swirling my fingers in the metallics, what? The other thing is it has 2 beautiful cream products right here. I think I'm gonna start with one of these. This is rather large. I'm just gonna dip my brush into here and maybe give myself a little bit of this, and then we'll blend it out. Just too large of a brush. I see that now. Oh well. Just gonna go in with my finger and make sure I'm getting this where I want it. Oh man, even just that on its own is gorgeous. I'm gonna go into this shade here. It's the second to lightest matte, but it looks like it's pretty similar in tone to the cream product I just put down. And I'm just gonna lightly buff over this. Have you tried any of the Perfector eyeshadows? I feel like the first one he came out with, the more bronzy Major Dimensions palette, was very similar to a lot of eyeshadow tones I already had. And I feel like there were some mixed reviews about the textures of the metallics, and there were only 3 metallics. This one has 5. I love a sparkle with the eyeshadows. And so I have really been pulled in by the look of this, and the fact that I feel like rosy eyeshadows are really having a moment. Everybody is coming out with rosy eyeshadow palettes, and they've been around for a while, but they're like really popular right now. But this one I feel like was the one that really made me go, yep, I feel like I really want that. I'm going to use this lightest shade here, and I think I'm just going to go right along the edge of this. See if I can lightly blend up to the brow bone with this. I'm going to use this shade right here, just a little bit of this on the outside edge to deepen. I'm ready for a metallic, so I'm picking this one up right here. Oh, this is gorgeous. It's funny, as I'm running my finger over this, it feels just a little bit drier than some of my other favorite metallic-y formulas. It's not quite as buttery as a Sydney Grace pressed pigment. It has kind of a same, similarly almost dry feel like some of the Pat McGrath shadows do that are really sparkly. But I think it's beautiful on the eye. I'm not getting any fallout. I just realized, like, normally with sparkle shadows or even mattes, I'm not getting any fallout. I love that. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this shade here, maybe a little bit of the one next to it, kind of dab between the two of these here, and just see what sort of layered glittery effects I can get going here on the eye. Maybe I'll just stick with the brush for this. I'm going to go back to this matte here that I used originally in the crease on top of the cream shade and just buff a little bit of this in the lower lash line. I'm going to place it with this and then use a slightly larger brush to blend it out. When I place it, even though this is a small kind of fluffy brush, I always end up with it places I don't intend to. So I place it with a smaller brush and then I blend with this. I do like a kind of soft diffused lower lash line. Sometimes it gets away from me, but I definitely prefer this over this. This still feels a little bit harsh for me. I realize that the way I'm holding this, you can see everything going around. Oh, my tabletop is a mess. Also, I don't know that I love the fact that this is mirrored and gets really ooey gooey. I'm going to throw in a little bit of liner. This is from Makeup by Mario. This is the Pigment Pro pencil or Pro Pigment. I forget what it's called, but the shade is Perfect Brown. I'm picking up the darkest matte shade in this palette and I'm just going to press that right on top of this liner. And then I'm going to take a minute to curl my lashes and throw some mascara on, and I'll be right back. The last thing I happened to pick up when I was at Sephora was one of their new signature lipsticks by Myricks. I was so sad they didn't have the full line. There's 8 of these. There were only 3 available at my local Sephora. It's a smaller Sephora store, but that's okay. But I picked up the shade Baby, and it's kind of like a neutral kind of pink. What I like about this is how easy it just glides. Oh, so comfortable. I like that it has a soft, subtle sheen. It's not too glowy. But it was the texture of this. I was like, ooh, I swatched it on my hand and I felt it between my fingers. I was like, yes, that's what I want. I really like the way that this lipstick feels. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like it's a really thick layer. It doesn't also have that real gel-like glide either. It's a nice kind of cream lipstick. The one thing that I like is it does have kind of like a subtle slight glow when you first apply it, but after about an hour, I find that it, I wore it yesterday to work, that it kind of mattes down a little bit, but it doesn't look like dry matte. Super comfortable. And for me, when I swatched it on the back of my hand at the store, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want. And then I started, you know, oh yeah, just the way that I could tell by the way that it felt like being swiped on. The texture was nice. And then feeling it this way, I was like, yep, this lipstick's for me. This is one that I probably would be interested in picking up another shade and maybe something a little punchier. I was worried that using this palette was going to be difficult because the lightest shade in here is actually darker than my skin tone. And I wasn't sure how these cream products here were gonna wear on the eye, but I wanna see how they wear all day today, because I guess I kind of used one of the creams as primer, but it was super easy to blend. It looks gorgeous on the eye and everything went over beautifully over the top. Nothing had any difficulty blending. Very impressed with this, and I like the level of sparkle. It's the metallic shades that really drew me in. Look at how pretty these are. There is one more. Let me swatch the last one for you. It's hard to see, but it's on my thumb here. But look at how gorgeous these are. I always love a good metallic shine. So the minute I saw this in person and I felt these guys, because the texture of these is really, really unique to what I have. I think most of the other ones that have this sort of metallic look tend to be a little bit more buttery and rich in feel. And these, they have a little bit of that, but they feel a lot lighter weight than some of the other eyeshadows that I have, but I really do feel like they're quite lovely. And the level of sparkle, especially these last 2 over on this side and this one here at the very, very far end, is really pretty. I'm super excited to play with this more. Let me know, do you have the first major dimensions or did you pick up this volume 2? I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you have this new Merit lipstick or if you have thoughts about the HD Forever foundation from Makeup Forever, let me know. Thank you so much for watching today. Have an amazing day and I'll see you again soon.